Crazy Hood Media back with a new reaction. Today we got this fool Gface getting exposed by 1090 Jake with the paperwork from the indictment that Gface and his wife got wrapped up in. It's a long story, but we're going to cover it in this video. It's a brand new reaction. But before we jump into the video, make sure you hit that like. Make sure you subscribe. We're about to hit 100K subscribers. Man, we taking over. But let's load up that clip.
When you put your business out there, it becomes everyone's. But when you put other people's business out, you become a target.
And that's real talk right there. If you don't know what 1090 Jake is referring to, this fool Gface was very flamboyant, very show-offy, showing off, I got 100 racks, I got a Lamborghini, I got this and that. Well, the feds were watching, the IRS was watching, everybody was watching, which ended up leading to him getting caught. But let's get back into the clip.
The feds have officially indicted none other than 39-year-old Yuri Kachikian, who's more commonly known as Gface,
aka Ghostface. Let me find out, this fool has like 5 different AKAs. AKA Rata Face has multiple fake profiles. An ex-rapper named Little Ghost, and he was accused of snitching even back in the day. So this is about to get interesting.
If you're subscribed to No Jumper, you've likely seen Gface before.
I'm trying to think, when was the first time that I saw Gface? It could have been No Jumper, but that's kind of weird, huh? He just popped up out of nowhere on some government secret agent type shit. You feel me? Like, now that I think of it, it is kind of weird how some of these fools just be popping up out of nowhere, blowing up, got all this money, and now they're in the rap game, and now they're mixing elbows with other rappers, you know? So that part, it is kind of a red flag now that I think about it, going back. But what do you guys think, man? When was the first time that you guys heard about Gface or Ghostface or Little G? Man, this fool got like 100 names. I don't even know what name he goes by now. But let's get back into the video.
An Armenian immigrant, Gface would gain notoriety for it.
See, and that was another crazy part of the paperwork. When I was going through it, it shows that even if he beats all the charges, which you know he's not going to do that, I think the Fed's conviction rate is like 90%. Let me know in the comments, but I know it's a crazy conviction rate. Like, if they got you, they got evidence, they got everything on you. From the paperwork, it shows they've been watching him for some years. So
ties to the Southsiders, a predominantly Mexican gang with historic roots stretching from Los Angeles and all throughout the California prison system. Before his interview with No Jumper, Gface could be seen alongside controversial rapper Swifty Blue.
No mames, Swifty. Nelson, Swifty Blue. You're the one that brought Gface on the scene? I did not know that. That's crazy, but now that I think of it, you might as well throw away your phone, fool, because you know your phone's tapped if you were texting this fool Gface. Hey, like on that movie Boys in the Hood when he's like, you know you up, right? You know you up, right? Swifty, you know you up, right?
In a video that went viral warning visitors of Los Angeles to check in.
So 1090 Jake is pretty much saying that these two met around the same time that Swifty was doing the whole check-in campaign. And I remember this video, they were standing in front of the Lambo going crazy with the cuete, talking about check in if you come into LA. And that's his homie from White Fence, which I don't know if he's really from White Fence. Obviously not, right? But I remember people were saying that he was from White Fence, he was from AP. So there was all, from the gate, there was all kinds of questions about this fool Gface. And of course, because he was kicking it with Swifty Blue, that just made it even go even crazier. But so far, it is making sense. It does seem like this is the beginning of Gface coming back to the hip-hop scene, because it seems like he was out of the scene for a while. He was in prison probably, but let's go back to the story.
Gangland, the southern side. I'm right here with the homie from White Fence. Check it out. If you ever in Los Angeles and you are here handling business, make sure you tap in with some solid homies for your own security. The streets is dangerous. If you're not tapped in, you will get stepped on. Believe that. You will get stepped on. Believe that. The streets is dangerous. Tap in.
Swifty, calmate, killer. Damn, this fool check in. He was on some Rambo timing. This is crazy. This is when Swifty was on crash out mode. I'm gonna label this section of Swifty Blue's life crash out Swifty, because man, he was on a spiral. Sometimes I was thinking that I was gonna wake up one day on, because I was posting a lot of videos on Swifty when I first made my YouTube page, and I thought one of these days I'm just gonna wake up and they're gonna say that boom, get Swifty's gone, because he was on that kind of mode. He was on some crash out timing, and look, kicking it with Gface, it was a matter of time before both of these fools crashed out. And I think they ended up beefing later on, but we'll get into that at the end of the video. Let's keep going.
Swifty Blue would speak highly of Gface to Adam22, securing him a No Jumper interview that would gain over 500,000 views.
See, I didn't know that, or I didn't remember that part of the story. So Swifty was the one that linked up No Jumper, Adam22, and Gface, and then they ended up making a bunch of content after that. Okay, the timeline seems right. That fool Swifty had a crazy interview at this time, and I remember at the same time, remember this was during the famous McDonald's, when he went to McDonald's and he told the lady to check in, which he has now apologized since, but this was during that time when Swifty was like on the news every day, 24/7.
Gface would describe moving from Armenia to Los Angeles at a young age and eventually losing his cousin to gang violence. Adapting to the culture, Gface would claim at only 15, he was arrested for 2 attempted murders on the same gang that took his cousin's life.
So this fool Gface, fresh out of Armenia, he came to the States, learned the culture quick, because everybody was learning the culture back then, especially in the 90s, and he tried to catch 2 bodies for the people that smoked his cousin. And now what happened next?
According to Gface, he wouldn't be released until he was 34.
I'm from West LA. I'm from White Fence. I went to prison at the age of 15, so I wasn't really out here in the scene. I'm 38 years old now. I went to prison at the age of 15. I got out at 34. I got charged as an adult.
So you're telling me that this fool Gface, at a young age, 15 years old, crashed out for his cousin, fresh out of Armenia? I don't know, man. Something about his story don't seem right to me. I feel like it's exaggerated.
Now this interview would spiral into a gang of conspiracy theories and accusations. Not only photos, but whole songs would be dug up showing a younger, less tatted, no beard having Gface.
Yeah, so as soon as the interview dropped, hella people started recognizing Gface as Little Ghost, that was a rapper from back in the day, or a wannabe rapper or whatever. And he started getting exposed. People started tagging everybody who worked at No Jumper at that time. They started tagging him and letting him know, like, hey, this fool Gface and his beard ain't who they claim to be.
Rapping by the name Lil Ghost and claiming a gang known as Armenian Power.
Who's that tipping in the drop top Benz? Lil Ghost Capone sitting up on the twins.
Yeah, that's definitely Little Ghost right there. That's Gface. Look at him right there to the right. It looks just like him. So yeah, he got exposed, but for a long time he was denying it. He was saying it's not him, he's not. And look, I didn't even know that those 2 hoods were rival hoods, so that's interesting to hear them say that. But now that I know, it kind of adds on to the persona. I think that Gface was really just an actor, man. Maybe just a federal informant, acting like a gangster, playing the part, trying to see what he can get out of the rap game.
This would contradict his original story of being from White Fence 13, a known rival of Armenian Power.
See, and that's how I know that this fool Gface was a grimy ass fool. Cause look, how you gonna go from one hood and then go straight to the ops? That's like a norteño being a sureño, or a blood turning into a crip. It just doesn't happen. The only time it happens is when a fool like Gface comes on the scene and he thinks it's cool to hood hop. But let's get back into the show.
Rumors began circulating that Gface, or Ghostface, or Lil Ghost, was attempting.
But see, even 1090 Jake, he doesn't know what to call him. Little Ghost, Ghostface, Ratface, Rata. Nowadays, we don't even know what to call you.
To cover up his past. Not long after, he'd be accused of snitching, and appeal transcripts would be discovered stating Ghost, aka Yuri, testified and identified in court the man that shot at him.
And the way that I remember it, he was still going to No Jumper doing interviews or pop-ups. And that's when this came out. It was like a little transcript saying that Rat testified, but he was always denying it. Even Whack 100 confronted him about it.
Whack 100 would even confront Gface to his face about the paperwork.
So Yuri is a dude that...
No, Yuri's me. You talking
Yuri
about
is you.
Yeah.
Bro, I remember when he dropped this, Yuri, Ratface, Gface, whatever you want to call him, he was so nervous. He was smoking cigs back to back. He was sweating bullets. He was getting pressed by Whack 100 on No Jumper, and he was saying that, how does Yuri have 2 different case numbers? And he was like,
Yuri admitted
harmonious
that at the preliminary hearing, he identified Abrahamian as the driver and the person who shot at him.
Look at Ratface's body language when this is going on. He's so nervous, wearing a fake Gucci shirt. He looks shaken, nervous, looking at his phone for that fake paperwork.
And he had told the police that Skinny was the only person in the car. Is this real or fake? That's what that come down to.
I got the real paperwork right here.
So you saying this is fake work?
You notice how Ratface doesn't answer the question. He's asking him, is this paperwork real? He doesn't answer the paperwork. I think what he was trying to say is that he ended up not telling, like he told, but he didn't tell. I don't know.
Look, check this out.
Gface was now starting to feel the heat, but didn't even know the feds were about to raise the temperature.
Yeah, and they was definitely raising the temperature, because at this time, I feel like everybody, all these fools that were going up to No Jumper at this time, I feel like all them fools' phones are tapped. At this point was when No Jumper was transitioning from a normal platform that interviews up-and-coming rappers to a gang-infested, talk about drama, gang soap opera type of show. And that's what it was turning into, and I'm sure the feds were watching it too, and that's when they decided to start watching your boy Yuri, aka Ratface.
A federal indictment would reveal Yuri, aka Ghost, and his wife were now facing federal charges for conspiring to commit wire fraud, committing wire fraud, and engaging in a monetary transaction in property derived from unlawful activity.
And I remember at this time, Gface was posting and deleting a lot of videos like that, counting cash. Oh, here's 100K. Here's 500K. Do you want to learn how to make 100, 500K? Tap in with me. He was on that scam tip, trying to come up with some money, because I feel like he knew that the door was about to come cracking down. But let's get back to the story.
The fact that the paperwork says Ghost instead of Gface also seems to confirm his previous alias.
Boom, there you go. The feds figured it out. They pretty much just exposed Ratface for being known as Little Ghost, because they put it on his indictment, man. This pretty much confirms that it's true what everybody was saying all along. He was an agent. He just got caught, man. Oh, man.
As he's documented as Ghost, the one from Armenian Power. So how did this happen?
He was being sneaky, and it was true because he had money, and a lot of times people be looking away when it comes to people having money, so they were probably not even looking into his paperwork like that because they didn't want to piss him off. And you know he was spending money, Gacho too, because he had a Kevin Gates feature, he had a Yellow Hill feature, he has a bunch of different features, even a RJ, or what's the other fool, Slim 400. There's a bunch of different features that he has. And it's very interesting to me to see that he knew he was going to get caught, because the way he was spending his money and putting it out there, it was a matter of time. But pretty much he was letting everybody know, is Gface the Armenian 6ix9ine? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And if you guys are still tuned in, thank you. Make sure you hit that like, share, subscribe. We're on the road to 100K subs. Let's get it.
According to the indictment, Yuri and Yelena owned 2 businesses together and shared a bank account. Between July 2020 and June of 2021, the feds alleged the couple applied for small business loans and PPP loans by falsifying business documents.
Boom, he just got exposed. So all that money that you guys were giving him for that trucking business, it was capped. He was getting money from the PPP loans allegedly, and he was scamming thousands or hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions, who knows. But that's how he was funding his activities allegedly.
They'd received 2 loans worth $290,000 on top of a PPP loan worth 20 grand. So why is this news? Well, it just so happens that while Gface was on No Jumper telling prison war stories, in reality, his face was no good.
See, and that's the part que me caía mal de this fool Gface, is that every time when he was on No Jumper or any of these platforms, he was acting like he was this big old killer. He was this big old fool in prison. He did his time and ain't nobody could tell him what to do. But in reality, he was just a rata.
Gface knew he had a target on his back, and his only way to get out was to expose the past he's been hiding. A motion for review of magistrate's order of detention would be filed on Yuri's behalf.
So I'm guessing that's like a motion for the judge to let him go, so they don't think that he's a flight risk, that he ain't a problem, that he's gonna stay at home, right? So the judge is trying to book him, they're trying to get him, not let him go, and the lawyer's trying to do whatever he can to make Yuri, aka Ratface, make himself seem like an outstanding citizen.
The feds want to keep him in custody, and this was Yuri's lawyer's chance to explain why he's a good citizen and should be released from custody until trial.
And this is very important because if he doesn't get let out on bond, on some kind of a bond, he could possibly be fighting this trial for years behind bars with no money, with no income, and then possibly facing deportation because they're saying that he's an illegal immigrant, so they're trying to take this fool back to Armenia.
It would also state he has concerns about his safety during his detention. Yuri has been a target of the Mexican mafia since 2006 when he was stabbed repeatedly and left for dead. He cooperated against the mafia members who stabbed him and has been forced to live with a green light hit hanging over his head.
So you're telling me that since 2006, when he was supposedly in prison being this shot caller, they're saying that he pretty much locked it up in 2006 when he got shanked up. So that pretty much means that he led the majority of his life in a PC yard, because 2006, and he only got out recently. So yeah, he was definitely PC'd up for many years. He planned this out. He planned his escape. When he got out, what he was gonna do, he got out and he started pretending like he was with the business, started scamming allegedly, and it's leading up to this.
Since that time, there has been several attempts and threats on his life, including recently, and he has had weapons in the house to defend himself.
So pretty much Ratface is telling the judge that, one, as a felon, he has guns inside of his home, and he's saying that he feels threatened that somebody's gonna come to his house because of all the masa that he's been talking. And see, that's his problem, bro. He's going around talking crazy. Gface literally put a video out on the internet talking about that he wants to put a hit out on somebody, on a rapper. He said it live too. And now he's gonna act all surprised like, oh, judge, please let me go. The judge is probably like, shut the up, pinche llorón. Get your ass out of this courtroom.
Come to find out, Yuri isn't even a US citizen and is a documented alien. According to his lawyer, he came to the US at only 9 years old, and he checks in with ICE once a year, providing all of his information.
So you're telling me that every year this fool Ratface was checking in with ICE, telling him how everything's going, and on the paperwork he's known as Little Ghost.
His entire family is now in the US. He's been married for 13 years and has 3 kids aged 16, 13, and 5. He's responsible for taking care of his mother and mother-in-law, as his father came up with an idea. Knowing the most difficult part of the trucking business is starting it, he offered to mentor anyone willing to pay his one-time $5,000 consulting fee.
So this is where he gets into his era where he was getting into being a trucker, and he was trying to help, quote unquote, help scam people into joining his trucking scheme, pyramid scheme business, which ended up giving him over $3.5 million.
In his first year, he had over 700 customers, grossing $3.5 million legitimate dollars.
So this fool Ratface was actually a millionaire. One of the things that he wasn't lying about was that he was a millionaire, and he even has the tax returns to prove it. And remember, he was on No Jumper showing Adam like, look at my bank account, look at my bank account. So I guess it was true.
For all of these reasons, ICE has chosen not to deport him.
Wait, so ICE ain't gonna deport him? What does that mean? I thought that, or is it because he brought in that much money? That part I'm confused about. Somebody let me know what's up with that in the comments.
Unfortunately for Yuri, he didn't become a legit millionaire until after committing fraud, and now it was coming back to bite him.
But look, if you really think about it, if he was really a millionaire like that, I don't even think they were on his case like that. But when he started going on to No Jumper, going on the net, talking crazy shit on YouTube, when he started going crashing out like that, then he put the spotlight on him. And then the feds, the IRS, everybody was like, who's this dude tatted up with all these chains? And the money's not adding up to what he has. So
Yuri was now begging for a bond as his business depends on it, and each day spent in jail is another day his success fades away. It would state in 2012 he caught a case and never attempted to leave. His lawyer would state if he were to flee to Armenia, it would almost certainly be a death sentence as he could not protect himself there the way he can in the US. It would expose him in a way that he has not been exposed in years and would make it easy for the Mexican mafia to have him killed.
So in 2012, he caught another charge. I wonder what that charge was. Somebody let me know. But he only speaks Armenian and English. If he goes to Armenia, it would be a death sentence for him because he can't protect himself. What do you mean? What is he talking about? You're telling me that they're going to find you all the way over there in Armenia? Possibly. Could happen.
Now, holy, this sounds nothing like the stories told on No Jumper. And if my math is math, then Yuri was born in 85. So if he got locked up at 15, that would have been the year 2000. And if he was stabbed in 2006, that means he was stabbed in prison by the Mexican mafia and cooperated against them at only 21 years old.
See, and that's what I'm saying. His math ain't mathing up, right? It seems like every story that Mr. Yuri, Mr. Ratface is told is a lie, exaggerated, or twisted in some way.
But if he served a 20-year sentence, he's 39 years old, and was released at 34, that means he's only been home for 5 years. So how the fuck was he married for 13 with a 16-year-old, 13-year-old, and 5-year-old kid, and he caught another outside charge in 2012?
The more that I put the pieces of this puzzle together, the more I'm starting to feel like, low-key, this fool was an agent or something, or I don't know what he was, but he was definitely must have been some kind of informant because his story is all over the place. That's right. How does he have kids, and he was in prison for 15 years, and blah, blah, blah. It's like, man, this is too much. It's not even making sense at all. So, pretty much, is Gface whole life a lie? Is he even Is that even who he is?
Unless he lied about it all. According to Yuri's lawyer, Yuri was not a danger to the community, he is an asset. To understand his current position, it is necessary to review his history, both criminal and as a government witness.
Hell to the nah, nah, hell to the nah. So this fool Ratface was literally a government witness this whole time? Like wearing a wire? Like, man, he was around anybody who he was around. Man, that's crazy. I can't believe this fool was a witness the whole time. He was an informant, right? Pretty much. Or what would you call that? He was like a secret agent, like a spy?
In 2000, at 15 years old, Yuri was arrested for second-degree robbery. The circumstances of the robbery did not involve a gun, and he was arrested for taking $40 from a person with a knife, sentenced to 4 years in prison, and given 2 strikes.
This fool's a dirtbag. He was going around robbing foods for $40 with a weapon, or even without a weapon. That's still grimy for 40 bucks. Dang, man. 40 bucks. He went from robbing little señoras for $40 to pretty much being a millionaire, scamming, and being a federal witness.
So Gface completely lied on No Jumper about avenging his dead cousin, attempting to murder 2 rivals, and doing 20 straight years in prison. In fact, the DEA became involved with Yuri back in 2005 when he was only 20 and began using him as an informant.
Wait. Let me get this straight. So this fool Ratface was literally in the hood, serving up fiends, trying to buy dope from the local drug dealers, pretending like he was a gangster from AP or White Fence. That's why he was so confused, because he told so many lies, he didn't know what was the truth.
Provided the DEA with names and evidence against several people that resulted in arrests and convictions. The government does not dispute his involvement with the DEA and his cooperation.
So pretty much what 1090 Jake is saying is that the government is not denying that he has been helping out. So in some way he might get a reduced sentence, or he might even get some bail because he's helped them out a lot.
After several arrests were made, including members of the Mexican Mafia, it became clear to the community that Yuri was an informant. Word was put out that he was a snitch and needed to be taken out.
And this goes to the point where he disappeared for a long period of time. I don't think he went to prison, bro. I think he was in the witness protection program or something, because if you look at the age of his kids, that matches up differently to the time that he was saying he was in prison. So there's a big missing gap in there, and 1090 Jake is going to get to the bottom of it. Let's keep watching.
And shortly after, he'd be attacked by two men and stabbed multiple times. He managed to survive, but it would take months to fully recover.
So Jake is pretty much saying that eventually he did get caught slipping in the hood. He thought he was safe, and they stabbed him. They shanked him up, and they're saying that he didn't recover for months. Man, that must have been a bad pegada.
The Glendale Police Department pressured Yuri to give up the names of the two men who stabbed him so they could arrest them. At first, Yuri was reluctant because he knew it would lead to more retaliation, but the detective insisted, even threatening him with jail if he didn't reveal the names.
See, and this is when he started getting used as a puppet by the agency, because they told him if he doesn't cooperate, if he doesn't tell on them, the people that got him, he's gonna have to go to jail because he's not cooperating anymore. And they have a lot of evidence on Yuri, because I'm sure he was still doing dirt. Yuri must have been like that dude on Training Day, and he was living like a double secret life, living the bad life and also trying to help enforcement agencies.
Yuri was assured they'd be arrested and he wouldn't have to testify, so he gave up the names and they were arrested for attempted murder. Neither man would take a plea, meaning Yuri now had to testify, and it only took a little convincing before Yuri agreed and testified against them.
So boom, there you got it. Evidence. Not only was he a straight up rata informant, but he also went and took the stand against the people that were sent to get him. I told you, man, he's like the Armenian 6ix9ine.
He knew doing so would increase the pressure on him as a target of the Mexican Mafia, and he later learned he was #1 on their hit list.
At this point, I think it's the Scante talking, because this fool is definitely scanted out. He was definitely on some yay or something. If you look at his interviews, he's always sweating bullets and like really nervous and sweating all the time, which could be Molly, who knows, but he's definitely on a sick one.
The government back then realized he was in danger and arranged for him to move to Atlanta and start a new life. The move didn't go well, and he moved back to Los Angeles with his family.
So he moved out of state to Atlanta. He was out there in ATL trying to pretend, trying to lay low, and he didn't like it out there, so he moved back to LA.
Within 1 year of moving back, he was attacked, and Yuri stabbed one of the men, sending him to the hospital. Yuri refused to cooperate at this point. He told the officers the reason he's in the position he's in is because he cooperated before, and he was never going to do it again.
Wait, that's crazy. So they knew that he shanked one of the people that got him? Did they help him? How does that work? How did they know and he didn't get in trouble for that?
It was explained to him if he did not cooperate, he would likely be charged, as you can't go a self-defense route without cooperation. But for the first time in Yuri's criminal life, he'd actually do something honorable. He told the police he'd rather do prison time than put himself and his family further at risk.
So he went to prison for shanking the fool that shanked him, and he ended up doing 7 years for that? Damn, that's crazy. Even after being an informant and everything, they didn't care, man. They didn't take that for nothing. So 7 to 6 years, he was probably snitching in the pen too. They probably put him in certain cell blocks to see what kind of information he could get from other inmates.
If only he thought like that before becoming a whole DEA informant, he would have avoided all of this. Yuri would end up being arrested for the stabbing and took a plea, sending him to prison for the next 7 to 8 years. Law enforcement was aware of him being an informant, and the Mexican Mafia hit on him, so he was placed in protective custody.
So yeah, a lot of people were telling me like that allegedly he was placed in PC for his whole sentence. So all those war stories, all those prison stories was all lies. It was all cap.
When he was released, he wanted to start a new life, but he still had the potential hit hanging over him. He moved to a location where he could not be found and started his trucking business. Finding success, he'd move his family into a home where he has put in larger walls, iron gates, 35 cameras, and part-time security.
This fool said 35 cameras. Yeah, he was definitely in the witness protection program. Not just that, but with the trucking business, a lot of stuff, there seems to be a lot of missing parts to this story. I feel like I should make a whole documentary about this and really dig deep into this case. And
to underscore the ongoing threat, Yuri received a recent Instagram message from someone named Bozo, who sent him a picture of his house with the message that his days are numbered.
And that's allegedly. I don't know nothing about that. Allegedly.
In one of the pictures, his wife, daughter, and dog are all visible. The Instagram message is saved on his phone that the police took during the search, and if they bring the phone to court, Yuri can show the threatening Instagram message.
Once again, allegedly. I don't think he did that. Allegedly.
So apparently Yuri still isn't done snitching, and his online beef with Bozo is documented through social media.
Bro, I'm too rich for you to go to war with me, dog. Think about this. I could drop $40,000 right now for one of your little homies to off you, dog. You saying I'm a snitch. Why are you not doing something about it?
At this point, this fool was trying to get Bozo to crash out on him, but luckily Bozo was smart enough. He didn't bite the bait. He never even talked about him for a long time, and to this day, I haven't heard him speak about him since.
Yuri would plead guilty to felony assault with a deadly weapon and do 3 months in jail. At no point was he charged with attempted murder. At all times, he was in protective custody. And currently, Gface is being held inside the San Bernardino County Jail in protective custody because of threats on his life for being a DEA informant.
Gface, it's a wrap. Hang it up. It's done. You're finished. Fatality. It's over. Finito. Done. This fool literally was an agent the whole time. This goes to show you never know who's around you, and just because they all tatted up like that doesn't mean nothing.
When the feds raided Gface's home, they'd find an unregistered handgun in a bush, multiple guns in a safe, and $20,000 in cash. His lawyer would also highlight how even though Gface is in protective custody, that is no guarantee that he can be protected. Federal prosecutors don't give a fuck and don't want him released.
And that's about it for today's video. Crazy reaction. If you want to see me start doing more of these longer reactions, hit that like, hit that share, subscribe to all my content. We about to hit 100K. Let's get it. Help me reach that goal. And until next time, let's load up that clip.